Do small businesses need SEO, search engine optimization? Why? Why do they need it? Why do you need it? Why do I need it? Why do we need it? Why do they need it? It's an us thing. It's not a me thing. It's not a you thing. It's a we thing. And today's conversation is going to center on the why. Because when you know why it's happening, then it tells you how to move better, right? It gives you more structure, it gives you more base, it gives you more control. There are things that you can do with your time that you wouldn't have to spend time on if you aligned your content correctly with the web. So, SEO is a long term game, it's not a one time game. Welcome, Kelly. And it's really where you have to ask yourself as a business owner, as a small business owner, because this episode is for small businesses. So if you're a small business, this is for you. I'm excited that you are listening to this episode, you're listening to this topic, you're listening to this space. However time may vary in your day, you can always come back and listen to this because the replays are on and you can always rewind to listen to this again. I'm going to break it down into three things. Why do you need SEO? Why do small businesses need SEO? The first reason why small businesses need SEO is because small businesses need an engine to run their operations. If you have a business, that means you have a desire to solve a problem. It means you have a goal to achieve. It means you have something that is actually connected to you. This is where a lot of people don't get to see the other side because they feel like it's like, oh, I don't know. Why do we need this? I'm not sure. Is it something that we actually need? I don't know. I'm not sure. I'll come back later. Maybe this is not for me. Maybe it is for me. And then you start thinking about all the possibilities of why you wouldn't want to be on the platform or why you would not want to be, within those spaces. That may be a problem because at the end of the day, your goal is to help more people see your business, right? Your goal is to get more people in tune with what you're doing, in tune with your business, in tune with your desirable actions as a business. So, the first reason why a small business needs that SEO in their own arsenal is because you're competing against people who have paid campaigns, people who have paid marketing, people who have paid plans, people who have budgets, people who have advertising plans. And those plans may be very expensive for you to start off with, but the little you can start off with today is by answering questions on your website that focus specifically on the people that you are determining to help. The people that you're trying to help are people who need your help, right? And if they need your help, they need your service, they need your connections, they need all the good things that you actually want to have as a business so that people can find your business. I'm a podcaster. I have a podcast. If you click the link above, you will see it. And if you hit podcast, you will see it too. The podcast has grown through 123 countries because of SEO. You can't pay 123 countries worth of ads. It's going to be expensive. It's going to be very expensive. So, why is this important today? Why is this topic very important today? It's because as a business owner, you want to count your numbers, right? You want to count your numbers. When I say count your numbers, I mean how many posts are you going to do in a week as a business? And then if you're doing those posts, are you the one doing them or are you outsourcing someone to do them for you? If someone is doing them for you, they're probably dictating how many should go out or you're probably telling them what to do. If you're the one doing it yourself, then you're the one that's going to get more insight for people to connect back with you. So, as a business, your goal is to see how your content resonates with the people, right? Your content needs to resonate with the people because the people who are listening to your content are people who are interested in your service, they're interested in what you have to offer. So, you're creating an experience that gives people the ability to choose you. The only way they can choose you is if you show them that you have something to offer, right? And that starts off with questions and answers. Questions and answers. Welcome, Clarita. Questions and answers, right? When you answer questions on your website, then you have a reason to grow as a business because you have the potential to see the other side. There are more people on the other side that need your help than on the other side that are just wandering around, right? One major thing to look at, especially as a business owner, and if you're a small business owner, is that if you're counting your numbers, then you're counting those numbers based on your budget, based on your time, based on your energy, based on your resources. So the more resources you have, the more traffic you get. So if I answer many questions on my website, that means I'm referring to many people. But traffic does not always equals to sales. That's another thing. The traffic that will lead to sales would be, let's say you have 24 views on YouTube. Now, those 24 views might actually lead you to 2,400 compared to 24,000 views and you have zero sales. So you want to do the math and you really want to know what is my niche focus? Who are the people that I'm trying to connect with? Why are they even connecting with me? What do I have to show them that they need, that they require my services? And vice versa. So, as a business, you need SEO because you want to show up online as a credible and sustainable brand. SEO respects brands, right? You type in something right now, if you're looking for shoes or whatever it is that you're looking for in the market, you will get a result. You will get a result. And that result is going to be a brand. It's going to be a brand that you know or a brand you may not know. So if it's a brand you don't know, then how will you let that brand in? How are you going to give people that ability to know that, oh, I have a brand, I have a business, I have something to offer? How are they going to know? The only way they're going to know is when you show them that you have something to offer. And what is that thing you have to offer? Information. You have a small business, you've set up a business account, you've set up a business website. Now you want to create business goals. You want to hit business milestones. You want to have business resources. These things that you're putting into your time, energy, and effort, right? Time, energy, and effort. That's T. Welcome, Balaji. You want to create content as a small business owner that will drive the right traffic that will lead to the right sales cycle. Welcome, Roham. These are the great ways a business owner should think about SEO because SEO is already like scary in its own full capacity, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be scary. It doesn't have to be daunting. It doesn't have to be stressful. It just has to make sense. And how does something make sense when you're making sense out of what you're showing them? So if you have a business and you're showing people that, hey, I do this, I do this, I do this, this is an FAQ, this is a section, this is what we will work on, then more people will want to work with you. More businesses will want to even recognize you because as a brand, you can actually show up and show them that you have something to offer. It's not just a matter of creating content, putting content, saying, hey, this is what I'm doing today. There has to be some leniency, there has to be some connections, there has to be something that's going to give you the business of the day, right? How do you know what people are searching for? When are they searching for them? Are they even looking for them right now? Is it something that you provide that if they find, you're able to give them what they're looking for? That's a very big question. So your goal here isn't just to create content, right? Because anybody can create content, including AI. But what's going to set you apart from AI, what's going to set you apart from other businesses is how your business is going to run the race? How is it going to run the capacity? How is it going to run and connect the dots of people? Welcome, Johnny. You have to look at your business as a place of, what's the word I'm looking for? Refuge. Yes, because you think about how people want to connect with you and learn from you, and then they learn how you connect with them. They will feel connected back to you because you showed them something to connect with. And that connection starts with intention, right? They're going to look at your content. They're going to see, this is what I'm looking at. This is what I'm building. This is what I'm doing. Welcome, Richard. What am I doing? What am I building? How am I building these things? Are they working for me? Are they working against me? Do I have a small business? Do I have a mid-sized business? Do I have a large business? Do I have an enterprise? What am I doing? Do I have a franchise? What am I? So it's just a matter of time that someone can decide what business they want to work with because of the things that they do. I was talking with a client earlier, and we had a conversation about some things, and we realized that there are few, actually zero. There was absolutely nobody that was talking about it but government, schools, hospitals. And that made sense because that's what is showing up on the web. But if you have a business, it's a small business, you're going to be fighting those people. Not, I won't even say fighting, competing, because fighting is negative. Competing. You want to have a healthy competition, right? Because if you one up someone and they one up you, you're going to one up them, and then it keeps going. It's like a bid war. So if somebody's going to do business as a small business, right, your small business has to show dominance. So if your business is showing up in those areas, then it's a big thing, right? It's been a very busy week. Welcome, Shara. Glad to have you here. Shara, I owe you an email. I owe you an email. We had Creative Con last week. I just flew back into the country. I mean, into the city, to Houston. So it's been such a busy week. But this week, I got you. I wanted to just let you know and, shout you out as well. How are you?
You're fine. I'm good. See, you got Richard in here. He's my co-working buddy.
Okay. Hey, Richard.
But yeah, I'm here. But yeah, I honestly forgot that's my ADHD. So you're fine. I've been slammed too. So
Thank you, Shara. I appreciate you. Richard, how are you? Wanted to say hello before we continue. Are you available to speak? Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I'm doing good, my friend. And John was speaking very highly of you today in an earlier room. So he's raising the bar pretty high on you, my friend. It's good to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, we had a session together at Creative Con. It was really good. And I was feeling so bad that I couldn't, be in the room this morning because I was airborne. So I was like, I'll just listen to the replay, but I'll be there again tomorrow. But definitely, I'm sure it was a great reunion this morning. And yes, so many good things happened over the weekend. And I'm so grateful that I was able to see people in person. It's like a breath of fresh air. It was really nice, and I was like, yeah, let me come here and talk about this a little bit. So thank you for that insight, Richard. I really appreciate it. Thank you for that insight for sure. You know, I think about these things, and I just want to help, as many small business owners that as possible, because a lot of business owners are trying new things. Hey, Shay and Priscilla, welcome to the marketing club. People are trying different things every single day. So you want to know what is working for you, because as a small business, there's only so much you can do, right? Hiring people, firing people, modifying things, switching things. There's a lot going on, a lot of moving parts. Sometimes you even wonder, am I really going to be doing this? Some people think, okay, I'm going to give it 1 month, I'm going to give it 3 months. How about you give it a few years of consistency? Because anything that you're putting out there is information that's going to be resourceful back to you, right? When you think about your website or you think about your business, what's going to make your business a business is what you have in your business, your assets, right? And we can talk about assets all day. I'm just going to focus on your content, which is your asset, because that's what people are going to use to verify and validate how you say things, how you respond to things. If I ask you a question and then that person responds back, that means that person responded back knowing what they heard. So it's hard for you as a business owner to go beyond websites that have been there for decades and you just showed up today. It may be hard for you to do that now, seeing that it may not be that possible. But you doing these things consistently becomes better for you because you're focusing on your niche, right? Because your niche is where the money is. Your niche is where your audience is. You can't be writing to 10,000 viewers and get zero sales when you could have done it to 100 views and get 2 bookings, right? You would value those 2 bookings over the thousands of views, right? Because you know that those views are not going to do anything for you. They're just going to look pretty on camera. They're going to look pretty on screen, but it's not going to look pretty on your account balance sheet, right? It's not going to look the same because you want to look at your goals and see, why do I, as a small business owner, need SEO? And SEO is not just copy paste SEO. I just did SEO on my website. When I hear SEO on my website, it feels like it's like saying I just trying to find something that is like a great analogy with that. It's like you're telling someone that you've cleaned the house. I've cleaned the house. Yeah, I've cleaned the house. But you've not specified where in the house you've cleaned. Is it the walk? Is it the bathroom? Is it the kitchen? Is it the dining room? Is it the closet? Is it the, where have you cleaned? Is it the whole house? Is it interior? Is it exterior? There's so many questions. Is it the shelves? Have you arranged? Have you done anything differently? So you can't just say I've SEO'd my website. SEO just sounds like, okay, I've done the SEO, but I need more. I want to be able to know, what has the SEO done for you? Because in your first month, the very first month you do SEO as a business owner, the very first month is technical. It's not even content, it's technical. Because if I'm going to add new information to your website that I've worked hard to research on and it's not ranking how it's supposed to, it's because there's a problem on the back end. There's a problem with the technical ability to do that. If you have a microphone and it's not turned on, you can have the microphone. Everyone sees you holding a microphone, but they can't hear you through the microphone. That's how it is with SEO. You can have the link to your page, everyone can click on it, but if it's not being received by the servers, it can be amplified to the people. So there has to be a semantic value and a sentimental reason why you're using that information to disseminate that context to people. And when people are learning from you, they're learning about you in the process. They may meet you today, not say a word, meet you next week, never say anything, then meet you 2 years from now and say one thing that you didn't even expect because you were able to show your authentic self the whole time. Some people have told me on Zoom, I've been listening to you for years and I didn't want to call until I was sure. And now the one thing you said made me sure. And I'm like, what one thing did I say that made you sure? And I've been saying the same thing over, but whatever I said may have resonated with them at that time. And I wasn't changing anything. It was the same context. It's just that it made sense at that time for them. Not everyone's gonna show up at the same time. Whenever they show up and they're ready, they'll be ready. But if they're not ready, then that's not on you because they're still doing things with their business. Every business has their own model. So you have to think about the structure and how that builds that in for you as well. Johnny, you have a very nice question. I want to read this. Thank you for being here as well. Which do you think? Let me see. Okay, SEO ads, SEO national, or backlinks as a faster way to scale your business from zero? Great question. So let me say it this way. When you said SEO ads, what came to my mind simply out the door is search advertising, right? There's social media advertising and there's also search engine advertising. And then there's search engine optimization, which is the continuous thing. Optimization is a continuous thing. It's not like, oh, I optimized your website. I'm still going to have to look at it tomorrow, then the next day. So if you're looking for backlinks, backlinks are great. But the way to get backlinks these days, you have to be authentic and you have to write content on your website because there's no way anyone can backlink to you if you don't have anything to show them. So if you're from zero, if you're starting from zero, like new website, fresh out the door, how do you show up online to somebody who has never seen you before? The first thing is research. Because if you're in a local area and you serve, I don't know what you do, I would love to know. But if you have a business and it's a product or service, then that product or service is going to take care of the consumers who are going to listen to you at some point. So if you're building backlinks, that means that you have something to backlink to. I can't give you what I don't have. So I can't get a backlink if I don't have anything to give, right? So how do you receive backlinks? How do you build your backlink strength? Your backlinks is pretty much your backbone. And for those who are hearing backlinks, what is a backlink? A backlink is specifically, and I'm going to paraphrase this, you can also Google it. But a backlink, from what I know, is that if you mention me on your website that I don't own, that you own, and you reference my web page, and not website, web page. If you reference my web page, meaning that you reference my homepage or my product page or my contact page, then that page is a backlink to you because somebody somewhere has connected your contact page on their website, and whoever is clicking on their website is going to find your website in the process when they click through that contact section. When they click from them to you, that's a backlink. So for you to get more of those backlinks, it means you need to create more content. And one way to do that easily is create articles, right? Write articles, publish them on your website, give people information that they don't always hear, right? They want to know more, but you want to give them a fresh perspective. So that fresh perspective could come in form of an audio, it could come in form of a podcast. It could come in form of a website page that is focused specifically on that topic. So if you have a topic, it's in form of an article. Then you take that same article, go on your podcast if you have one, and you talk about it. And then that same podcast is submitted to different RSS feed directories where you've been able to say, okay, I want to be on Apple, I want to be on iHeart, I want to be on Amazon, I want to be on Spotify. Those are 4 platforms that your website is on. That's a backlink. People may not call that a backlink, but it's a referring domain because now you have a website that is gaining traffic from other sources, from other places. And those places are not places that you go to all the time. You may go once a week, you may go once a month. Not everyone is online at the same time. Some people are online when it's a holiday season. Some people are offline, they deactivate their account and come back during the summer. Everybody is doing something different. So, how do you connect to people who actually need you today? That's where SEO comes in because when you answer these questions are responded back to you in form of traffic. So if you write 5 articles in 5 weeks, and after 5 weeks, you're getting your top 2 articles getting more stretch, that means that these 2 topics are of concern or of interest to whoever's listening or tuning in. Because if I'm listening to you and or I'm watching or I'm reading your article, I'll come back tomorrow. I'll come back next week. I'll come back next month to the same page. I might bookmark it. If somebody bookmarks your page, that's a signal to the servers that your page is important. It's like pinning a post on Pinterest, or it's like saving a post on Instagram. That's relative to you bookmarking a page on your browser. So when you have information that is so valuable that people can actually connect back to you, then you're able to give people value. So if you say, here are the top 10 free tools to use for social media marketing, and you mentioned 5 tools, those 5 tools you've mentioned have a link to each and every one of them. So if you're linking to one, two, three, four, five, now you have 5 external links. What you've just done is you've created a backlink for 5 different people, 5 different websites. So each of them have one unit, right? So 5 different backlinks from one source file. That's what you've done. In reverse, if they now backlink to you and they say, for more information like this, check out these other information pieces, that happens. I've seen it before. I would get an email saying, and this happens like a year after. So it's not something that happens overnight. So it has to take some time. And that's where sometimes small businesses don't have the time or patience, but that patience is very important. You can't put an article today and expect sales tomorrow. It doesn't work like that. You want to put an article today that makes sense for tomorrow, and then you put that article to people who actually see it and repurpose it through email, through podcasts, through newsletters, through forums, through quizzes, through polls. Send them back. Use gifts if you have to. Let people know that there's information that they've probably never heard before that they could potentially learn from you. And then from there, it now makes it easier for them to connect with you because you have the answers to their questions. If I call you on the phone and I ask you a question and you can't respond back, that conversation is not going anywhere after that. It's done because you've not answered the question or even referred to the answer based on what you know. And if you don't know the answer, how will you be able to give the right response? So you think about your business today and ask yourself, what am I doing with my business? Am I serving the right people, or am I just serving for service sake? What is the goal? What is the action? What is the point? What is the purpose? And how you can really understand why your business would thrive using SEO is when you think about something called cost per click. Cost per click. That is the most important thing, because if you don't have keywords on your website that actually drive revenue, that drive traffic, that drive engagement, that drive consideration, then you're just writing content for content's sake. So if you know that somebody is looking for a questionnaire or a checklist or a toolkit for something that you do as a business and you put it in form of an article, then that article becomes rich context, because now anyone that sees that article can use it for later purposes, right? Because there's something in that article that if I don't have access to that information, it's not going to work. If I'm looking for an email and I can't find it, I can't use that email because it's non accessible. It's inaccessible, actually. Let me say it like that, because you can't really connect the dots because there's a missing gap. So if you're bridging the gap as a consumer to the producer, which is yourself, and you're letting them know that this is what you're looking for, here are the top 10, here are the top 5, then they'll consider you because they remember that you're the one that gave them the information first. Yelp is a notorious example for this. If you go to Yelp right now, not even Yelp, people don't even go to Yelp.com. They do, but they'll find Yelp on Google. So they don't even have to type Yelp on their search bar because they're going to find it anyway. So if you're going to be a business owner and do the same thing that businesses are doing, then you focus on the cost per click. So you know that if these 5 keywords in the exact match phrase are going to give you X amount of dollars, for example, you can say, can I, very random example, can I jump on a trampoline? And let's say you sell trampolines, right? And how safe is a trampoline, or different types of trampolines? And you know that these questions that they're asking have dollar amounts next to them. How much is a trampoline, right? Somebody's just checking how much. It doesn't mean they're going to buy it. They may know, okay, it's $20. Okay, I'll come back tomorrow. It's $200. Okay, I'll come back tomorrow. They may not come back, or they might come back. But for the fact that they asked the question first, it means that it was top of mind. So how you retain that top of mindness to them is if you're giving them options, because people like to choose. Look at Apple. They give you different options. They say, choose this, choose this, choose this. Now there's an iPhone 16e. Choose this, choose this, choose this. Which one do you want? Do you want red? Do you want blue? Do you want green? Do you want yellow? You choose, because if they just gave you 2 options, you're stuck for choice. Now you're like, ugh, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. It's going to be hard because now you feel like you're stuck in a box. But when you now give people a variety of options to choose from, now they feel like, oh, this is Candyland. I can actually connect with this person. I can learn. I can actually learn new things. And that way, in response, if you're asking how much does this cost, then you give them a checklist, or you give them an episode, or you give them something that maybe is factual or statistical, then they can learn from you in a short amount of time about your brand without even knowing who you are. And then when they engage with you for 5 minutes and they said, okay, I'm going to opt into this person's email, then you're opting in because you found interest. When somebody leaves their contact information with you, that's interest applied. That's the first transaction before even the money, before the monetary value comes in. that trust has to be applied. Because if I don't trust you, how will I give you my contact? If I say, hey, can I have your number? And you say no, that's because you don't trust me. But if I say, can we exchange contacts? And you say yes, that's because we've built a relationship. That's a zero party data acquisition right there. There's no funnel, there's no opt in. It's literally there in front of us. There's no blockage. So if you do the same thing and you create that for your website and answer those questions, how much is a trampoline? So your website is called, abc.com. abc.com/ how dash much dash is dash a dash trampoline. Somebody can do it like that, but I wouldn't do it that way because I feel like that's a lot of fluff. How much is a? That is a is space that you could replace it with something contextual. Even if that word itself is monetarily valuable, I would put that in form of a question. And when you write articles on your website, especially the headings, write it in sentence case, right? So that when you're creating content and there's a question mark, it makes sense to the algorithm because it's not sounding robotic. It's not sounding forced. It's not like all caps, or it's not sounding like, okay, I'm going to capitalize every word. It's going to look funky. So if you just keep it simple and keep it very succinct into the way that somebody can understand what you're doing, then when they read, can I buy this trampoline? Google is going to pick that section off your website. Because sometimes we think that Google is going to look at the whole page and then rank the whole page. Yes, that's possible. But imagine that one question that Google gets you as a respondent, and you miss that question because it's not on your web page. They're going to go to another website that has that same context that you don't have. So when you create content on your website, those questions is where the money is, because you can't answer that question at the top. If I want to know how much a trampoline costs, the title of that article would be Trampoline Costs, How Much and Where to Find Them in Your Local Area. Now I've really gone deep into knowing, okay, somebody's looking for trampolines. They probably live in Jersey, or they live in Idaho, or they live in Maine, and they're looking for something close to them. Are they going to use Amazon and just go right there? Or are they going to come to your website that has options outside Amazon? Or maybe even has Amazon products on your website that you can lead to. And if you have an affiliate program, you make a commission from there. So you don't have to own it. But if you have an actual company that makes these things, then be the person and say best alternatives to your competitor. Fill in the blank, and then you let them know how much it costs on your side. So when they're now connecting with you, it feels like a real connection. It doesn't feel like a forced connection. Because when something feels forced, it's gonna break. And when it breaks, you can't get back spilled milk, right? Once it's spilt, that's it. So you have to think about the long-term effect as a business owner and ask yourself, what am I doing with my time? And how am I processing this information for people who want to learn? And I'm not overwhelming them with information. I'm actually giving them information they can use. That way they can learn from me and it can make sense. The topic of today is, why do small businesses need SEO? The reason why this is happening is because it's a topic that most people would love to, listen to learn from. And when people are reading these things, I would take this and switch it up, because here on Clubhouse, people want to read and it's quick. Some people use all caps, some people use emojis everywhere. Those things are fine. There's really, I won't say there's no SEO here. There's an algorithm here that allows you to know what to search for. There's a search bar, right? You can even search this room. You can search on the Explore tab. That's great. But when you now take this information outside here and then take it to a search engine, then there are more people who are going to find your content valuable, because as a small business, you're trying to use SEO to rank, right? And you're using this SEO to rank for a reason. So if I'm trying to sell trampolines, I'm not going to just say, how much is a trampoline? Because I know that's what it's being asked. I would say abc.com/trampoline dash cost dash. I could say alternatives. I could say FAQ. I could say reviews. I could say concept. I could say comparison, because you're putting something there commercially for people to see. Because the words that you start off with at the beginning is what you're going to keep at the end. Welcome, Steve. Glad to have you here. When you think about those keywords, right? Your website.com slash the name of your product or the name of the service, that's the first point of access. That's the first point of contact. If I'm looking for your name on my phone, or if I'm asking Siri to, do something, you're going to ask with a subject line. You're going to say, call this person. And if that person's name is not on that address book, Siri can't give you that response. Even though you have Siri intelligence, Apple intelligence, the intelligence is coming from the intellect that you've put. That's intellectual property. So if you've not put in that property into your asset, you know, portfolio, then how are you going to pull out that from there? It's like having a library and I have a book that I need, but I don't have it accessible because I have a library building, but I don't have the actual book I'm looking for. That person will not be in the library, even though there are millions of books. They won't stay because that book they actually want is not there. So people go shopping just because there's one thing that's missing from that shop. They'll go to another shop to shop for the rest of the things, including the things that was missing. So it's the same thing. It just depends on how do you want to do it. If you have flavors, if you have businesses, if you have things that you can show people, then show them those same things because that's what they're searching with. They already know what they know. They probably don't know you, but they will know you because you're showing them yourself in form of what they're already used to. So it makes it easier for someone to connect with you long term when you have a business with a website that has social and search traffic connected, because you can't have a domain that you pay for every single year or every other year and the number of pages on your website are the same every single year. That's not going to scale. What's going to scale is you're going to add more value to it, right? Think about your business, right? Because if you have a business and you don't have time to write this content, you don't want to write content that is not ranking. You want to write content that converts. That's why when you use the cost per click method and you now look for the most expensive words, you put all those words into your catalog. Now you have an asset library that gives you information about all these different categories, and you've answered each and every one of them. Now you're able to repurpose that to other platforms. It makes it easier for someone to connect with you on a much further and larger scale than just having a homepage, an about page, and a contact page. So there has to be some similarity between what you're doing and how you're also showing up online too. Richard or Shara, anyone can go first. I don't know if you're available to speak, but I would love to ask you, what are your thoughts on this topic when it comes to small businesses, and what have you seen out there that could be better?
I would say the main item is focus on continuous improvement, 1% better every day. Never compare yourself to somebody else or look at this as something insurmountable. Just take where you are. What can you do in the next 24 hours using something Favor said that makes your business?
What happened?
I have no idea. Oh,
Uh-oh.
up, Richard.
Are you there, Richard?
Let me make sure he get his green bang back. What happened?
Hey,
Oh, stop.
Happened.
hey, I was talking and it just popped down.
Oh my God.
Maybe the
But
internet
you got
couldn't handle all this incredibleness or something. So the main thing is never compare your business to someone else's. Comparison is the killer of joy, and you're trying to be perfect, and perfection is the enemy of profits and progress. So start where you are, and how can you get 1% better in the next 24 hours? You do that 70 days in a row, compounded, you're 100% better. So that's the main thing. Take some of these items and just work on them with the short term urgency, the long term consistency, and it will be a total game changer for your business.
Thank you, Richard. That's huge. That short term, long term is big, and I love that you mentioned it that way because the urgency is when people are searching for them in real time, and then when you realize that they're searching for it day one, day two, day three, sometimes it may take somebody 5 days to make a decision. It might take them 15 days to make a decision. It might take somebody 30 days. But like you said, that consistency allows someone to show up on time and then keep you top of mind too. So that was really good. Thank you for that, Richard. What about you, Shara?
I mean, both of you guys said some really, really good things. I was like, I love Richard to death because he's definitely given me some really good insight myself into my own business. There's always room for improvement. Um, and me and him talked about that a little bit the other day as we were both co-working in another space. I think it's very important to um, be willing to make mistakes, but learning from them fast. Make as many of you can in the beginning and learn fast. I also believe there's something to say in the community and making sure you have people that you can depend on. Um, I know when I started, I didn't like Favor knows, I didn't know nothing about SEO. I'm now in my fourth year just learning about it. So, people learn how they learn, but cut out the noise of what everyone else is doing. That was something I think um, was already taken out of my mouth. I was already thinking about it because there's so much out there and comparing yourself to other people. You have no idea what they're actually doing. I've met so many other influencer people that I thought were doing so well, but it's, the internet lies. So you have to just stay in your own lane, focus on what you're doing, and you're human. You're gonna have those moments where you feel like you're you may be catastrophizing, oh my God, this is not working. I do it all the time, and my business is thriving pretty well, but there are times where I'll be in my head about stuff, and I'll call a friend or I'll call another entrepreneur, and they're like, This is not as bad as you think it is." And I'm like, no, it's really not, because sometimes the most important thing you can have is someone who you can bounce ideas off of. um I had support in the beginning, but I'm the first person in my family to even build a business. So a lot of things I kind of just had to jump in and learn. But willing to listen to your clients, feedback is crucial to improve. That's something I know me and Richard talked about a lot the other day. Um, and I was just sharing with him. Oh, by the way, Richard, I closed the lady. She closed, and she was a high ticket, by the way. Um, me and Richard was talking about a new technique I was using. Of sending warming people up before they even come to me in a consult. That's a whole nother conversation. Um, but me and Richard were talking about it the other day, where before the client even gets to me, they are getting additional complimentary resources, podcasts, things that they can look at before they get to me. So by the time they get to me, it's time to close. It took me 3 years, almost four, to get to that point. So, again, things take time. Um, it takes time to grow, be consistent, even when you think no one's looking, because guess what? Somebody's always watching. You just may not know until later on that someone was watching. I've had people watch me for years, and then there's something that I say that just clicks. Keep pumping out content, but pay attention to what's working, pay attention to what's not working. Pay attention to your analytics, and double down on what is working. Sometimes people just do things. Sometimes I just pure anxiety, without really looking at what's the intention behind what they're doing, and then looking to see if it's actually working. I A/B test a lot. Um, so that's what I will say. I've had other thoughts come through my run favor, but I'm also hyped up on coffee in my ADHD brain. Okay. So I'll just kind of leave that there. But Favor is definitely the expert when it comes to SEO. But besides that, there are going to be thousands of people trying to tell you what to do. Do what you feel is right for you, the people that you serve. Um, Not everything is for everyone, and remember that. Find people that you can trust, that can mentor you. Of course, mentor, I don't mean free. That You have to pay to invest to get to where you got to go. But it's important to just jump in and figure that thing out. It does work out if you're consistent at wanting to get it done. I always say the best way to get something done is just to begin, because sometimes we get stuck in the list of, oh my God, I have all these things to do. Just begin wherever you're at. And that's what I'll say about that.
Thank you, Shara. Thank you, Richard. That is so spot on. It makes a lot of sense. Yes, you have to start somewhere. Even if the article is not fully done, you know, half a loaf of bread is better than none.
Oh, perfectionism. I forgot about that. I'm very type A. Um, Perfection is the enemy of progress. It really
And
is.
profit. And
And
profit.
profits. Yeah. Well, yes. I need to. Oh, you know what, Roger? I need to write that one down. All right. Yes, it really is because it can keep you. If 4 years ago, if I didn't move from a space of doing what I did for free for 6 months in Clubhouse, which I love doing, but it wasn't making me any money, to saying, I'm gonna turn this into a business. And the next month I made 16K in 1 month. That was my first official month in business ever, period. Non-vents just started. But building up of a community and just jumping. Someone said, hey, my former publisher said, hey, you got something that works. I need you to go ahead and monetize this because you're not getting paid for it. Like, no, I just want to help. And I was afraid because I'm like, what if it doesn't work? What if I'm not ready? All of those fear mongering signs. But what if I just jump and see what happens? And it worked out. Sometimes those thoughts in your head are just what they are. They're just thoughts. They're just thoughts. Acknowledge the fear, acknowledge the anxiety, acknowledge how you're feeling and move through it. That's the difference between, to me, between people that stay stuck in their mindset, the fixed mindset, or they're in a growth mindset of just saying, you know what, screw it. I'm just, what do I got to lose? Tomorrow's not promised to you. It's not promised to any of us, but you do have control over what you do in from a minute, second, minute, hour, 12, 24 hours from now. What you do has a ripple effect. It has a big domino effect. So taking even small steps is better than not taking any at all. So be not afraid of going slowly. Be afraid of only standing still.
Mm, that was oof. Yes, I feel like that was definitely the what do you call it, the icing on the cake, because it's so important to look at these things as a business. We think about the long term planning and great, market plan, business plan, financial plan, great. But if you're not looking at the long term plan, then all the other plans are just gonna wave. Like there's gonna be a different thing that happens to you as a business, and your business should thrive off success. It shouldn't thrive off, post. That post is great, but if that post is not posting to the right place, it's wrong. If you post the wrong post office, then that's the wrong audience. So it's like you have to think about the long term effect of that, just like Shara said, just like Richard said, and just do the minimal, because that minimal it takes you it goes far. Think about right now, today's February 24th, right? We're in a new week. This is week 9 out of 52, right? We have 52 weeks in a year, which is week 9. So imagine between January 1st and February 24th, you have 9 articles on your website, 9 pieces of content that are cost per click friendly and cost per click worthy, meaning that each of these words have a cost value, they have a dollar amount next to them. And these are the values that people are using to find you. That way, eventually they will, because all of those pages, it's like Lego. They're building on each other. Eventually, something's going to work. It's like Jenga, right? For those who have played Jenga, you build those blocks, you build those blocks, you build those blocks, because eventually you want to make sure that those blocks can stand on their own, right? And what's going to make something not stand on their own? Think about Jenga, right? It's a website. You have a full website. Now, when you start taking off those blocks, the reason why those blocks have spaces is because you've not filled in the right information that's going to keep that structure in place. You can have a website, beautiful looking website, but if the technical backend is not there, if there are loopholes, if there are broken links, if there are missing pages, if there are duplicated pages, if there are pages that are not even being read by the servers, then it's going to be hard for you to even show up as a business owner. Next month is Women's History Month. As a business, what can you do? For my business, especially in the podcast vertical. We only feature women all through March. If you go to the podcast, we don't play podcast.com and go to March, you'll see only women because we want to highlight their stories. We want to make sure they're appreciated. And it's something we've been doing for a few years now that actually has done tremendously well. Not because someone said you must do this, it's because there's an intention behind it, there's an incentive behind it, there's something of value that says this is what we're celebrating. Let's celebrate it the right way and give credit where it's due. So when you give honor to who it's due, then you get it back in bountiful amounts. But if you don't do it today, just like Shara said, you're going to be stuck. It's going to be like stuck in the mud. And then you're all of a sudden in the sinking sand. Nobody can see you. No one can connect with you. The lights are off. Everything is just not working. And it's a whole process to find you. And then the process of finding is already stressful. Somebody doesn't have that time or energy to look into that. But if you're a business and you say, okay, I want to solve this problem, I have this thing, I'm going to do it this way, it's going to work. And when you do it as a business, it will help you. I'm going to give you this final tip because we've talked about research, we talked about keywords and cost per click. This bonus is very good. If you have a website that has a PDF, you are going to do so well. So well. Look at government websites when you're downloading applications. Look at medical websites. Look at, just go to the big websites that you know about. Go to school websites. They have PDFs in them, request forms. They have this type of form, that type of form, then PDF format. And it's a format that Google understands. It's a PDF. When you're printing images or printing things, you use PDF. So imagine if your context is a PDF. You have a blog, yes, that's a web page, but you also have a PDF that people can download for free. That's going to be so much valuable to you because you're going to get so much traffic. That's how you're able to grow. And you can import these things, you can build these things. And LinkedIn is great too because you can put up PDFs on LinkedIn as a document. Imagine that same document was on your website. Just think about that. Just imagine how much traffic volume capacity you can have just because on a website. And it's your website for that matter. So it's just doing it, just like Shara said, just doing it consistently, and eventually you'll get there. So 9 weeks into the year, a lot has happened in 9 weeks, and a lot's going to happen the rest of the year. So if you know that my audience is looking for this at this time, and you know that they shop between this and this time, then whatever you're giving them has to make sense. So when they now respond back, it makes sense. Blogs and SEO are so good. If you're able to do them correctly, you'll be so far in life. And you'll be so happy you did it. And you'll be so happy you started. If I didn't start a podcast today, or when I started, I wouldn't be where I am. I wouldn't even be on Clubhouse. I think some of us have heard this before. I would not be here on Clubhouse if I didn't start a podcast because I started a podcast August 12th, 2019, and I joined Clubhouse November 24th, 2020. And it was because of the podcast that made me join Clubhouse. And that's how I ended up here. So imagine if I didn't follow my dream to have a podcast and I said, no, I'm just going to keep singing, keep playing my music, keep playing the drums, keep, songwriting. Don't know what would have happened by now. This room will not even be available. I don't think you guys would have even known me because I wouldn't even have a profile. And everyone else has their own story how they came to Clubhouse. And if it wasn't for what you planned to do or what you came for, you wouldn't be here. Some people are here for tips, financial help. Some people are here to make friends. Some people are here to have business connections. I just came back from Creative Con, a great event that just happened that I've met people in real life that I would have never met if it wasn't for Clubhouse, if it wasn't for communities like this. People you meet in person that you actually know their real name. You've talked to them, you've heard their voice. Even if you close your eyes and you hear them talk, you know who's talking. So that depth of relationship is what you want to have with your consumer because before you become a customer, you have to be a consumer first. It's just the real thing. If you go to the grocery store and you're trying to buy stuff, you're gonna have to be a consumer of that product. Oh, I like this product, so let me buy it. I'm not gonna buy it and then consume it. I'm gonna first consume it knowing that what I'm about to consume is something I'm used to. So that's where the transaction comes. So it's don't flip the script. You're able to do this thing well, it will work so, so well for you. So this has been great. And I'm so glad you guys have been here. I don't know if anyone has any question in the chat because it's been quiet. I know it's a Monday. and people are trying to like reset. But I'm glad I did this topic today as well. So I really appreciate you for being here as well. I see you, Jay Edward, Tony, Vernell, Marita, Balaji, Kofo, Brown, Priscilla. Thanks for being here today. And also Khaleesi. Appreciate you guys. You're so welcome to be in these spaces. And I'm going to be doing more rooms like this. If you go to my Instagram story or go to my TikTok, you're going to see a video that I talked about just something really quickly about local SEO. And I'm going to put that on my Instagram today so that, more people can, check it out. I even sent it to my mom and dad, and my mom was asking me some really good questions about it, which was very insightful to see because when you do these things, people get so used to you that like they even forget. But when you start getting really familiar with the things that you like, eventually it becomes a no-brainer. And then when new information comes and it's exciting, it's great. There's something about like neurologic psychology. If you think about it, I'm not in that space, but I know that when somebody acquires new information, it's like dopamine. It's like a dopamine effect. Like, oh, I didn't know that. Like even your face puckers up. Like you just look different because like, oh, I didn't know that. Because now you feel like you've acquired something new that you didn't have before, and you can actually use it for something greater. So if you know these things and do them well, you will always do well in life. You'll always do well in business. You'll always do well, even if things may not be working out the way you want them to, because you're consistently doing the things that make sense, that actually adds value, then eventually that ripple effect will come. Because imagine if you didn't write an article today, that traffic you have tomorrow will not have been existent. So there has to be a correlation between those two to make those two things work as well. So I'm really happy that we're here to talk about this today. Shara, what would your final words be for anybody that's a small business owner that needs SEO or just needs presence because they could be on any platform socially or search engine wise? Shara, are you there? She might be busy, but let us know when you're available. Richard, any last words?
Win the hour, win every hour, and even break it down to win every 6 minutes. Because a lot of times there is, or I'll say a lot of times, all day, 24 hours a day, there's chaos in business. And wealth is created by optimizing chaos. So, in order to do that, you need to isolate every hour and what is your priorities during that hour. And don't let a previous chaotic item in your day affect your entire day. So, isolate it down to the hour and specifically even every 6 minutes. How do I win this 6 minutes? How do I win this hour? And then repeat it the next hour.
I love that. You said six. Is there a reason why it's six, or I'm just
Well,
curious?
one of the natures of an entrepreneur, we have ADD or chase squirrels or whatever it may happen. So you want to stay in that very moment. And of course, there's 10 6 minute blocks in an hour. So if you win that 6 minutes, let's say you have to make a client phone call. How do I make that client phone call in the next 6 minutes versus getting distracted by checking my emails or something I'm comfortable with? How do I reply back to a
Richard,
text
stop,
versus?
stop, stop being in my house, okay?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. I'm watching you. So, uh, so you have to like I have to reply back to this text now within the next 6 minutes versus putting it off to something you're more comfortable with, and then you don't get back and communicate with a client or a prospect. So, win every hour, break it down to the 6 minutes, and don't let other chaos infiltrate your current work that you're doing.
Thank you, Richard. You see, for me, I got that dopamine effect that you just did right now with the 6 minutes. When you said it, I was like, that is true, right? In the 60-minute cycle, yeah, definitely. For me, I've learned something new myself, and that's why I'm always happy to be here because we learn from each other and we grow, and we can never know everything. Like what I know today, I'm gonna know more tomorrow. I knew less yesterday. So it's just getting better over time and refining your message and also refining yourself. So thank you so much for that, Richard. Shara, you available?
Sorry, I was dealing with my son who has doesn't know how to how to not eat everything. I swear I need to call him Pac-Man. Um, sorry, I'm dealing with a growing 10-year-old over here. It's like, Mommy, I want fried chicken. I'm like, all right. So nonetheless, favor, I would say to everyone, the only advice I would give you is um if you do not nurture your mind, your actions won't be fruitful. I'm going to say that one again. If you don't nurture your mind, your actions won't be fruitful. There's a big connection that I always talk to my clients about, my colleagues about, between the mind and the body. Oftentimes, we can have gazillions of thoughts in our head, and sometimes are unaware how those toxic thoughts underlying things can drive behavior, and sometimes behaviors that we don't want. So if we say, I am scared of this, or I'm not sure if this is going to work, it becomes the very lens that you look through. So we got to be very careful about how we talk to ourselves. And if we do catch ourselves talking a certain way towards our own self, then we need to do something called thought replacement. Thought replacement just means that, hey, um, instead of me saying, I am scared to do this, this is something new, I'm going to embrace it and move through it. So, thought replacement is just replacing that distorted thought to something more positive. That's all. Um, the more you're able to increase awareness of those thoughts, you'll find that your actions and behaviors change and you become more intentional. Um, whether that's in business, your personal life, or wherever. But it all starts in the mind, because if not, you run the risk of letting external factors, people, impact your ability to reach your full potential. And that's what I'll say about that.
Thank you, Shara. That was amazing. Wow. I'm happy that this room opened and we shared this information today with you so that you can, take action. And I would say this too, just set 3 goals for the day. 3 goals is enough. Like more than three, hats off to you. But at least start with three, like move that step, move that needle and see what happens, because there's some things that you would do in 6 minutes, like Richard said, that somebody else would take 60 years, to do. Maybe 60 seconds or 60 minutes or 60 hours or 60 weeks, which is possible. Because some people just, prolong, procrastinate. They're not ready. They're ready. I'm not sure. Am I ready? And then that I'm not sure becomes an everlasting cycle that never ends. And then time is going, you don't get that back. But if you take that action today, set up and say, okay, I want to do this now. I want to focus on this. I'm a small business owner. I know I have a lot of things going on. And most times, small businesses, the first thing is financials. Then the next thing is time. And then resources. So if you can really just consolidate all those things and see what's working, what's moving the needle, what's bringing back your most effective revenue stream from whatever category you're in, then definitely those 3 goals will definitely make a difference in your business and also in your career as well. So I'm glad we had this talk today, and I'm glad you guys are here to Joy, Austin, and Desiree. Thanks for being here. And Eli, I also see you. Welcome to the room. It's been a while. So if you have a question, if you have anything else that you'd like to ask, please feel free to reach out to me here. You can click on my face and then check my profile to get other links, whether it's LinkedIn or you want to connect to me on the podcast, feel free to do so. Or if you just want to have a direct skip the line link, just click the link above. Welcome back, Kelly. Click the link above, and that will take you to the marketing discovery call. Pick a date and a time this month or next month that you're available on your calendar. Let's have 20 minutes of discussion. Let's break this down, because once you start to see what's in front of you, especially in view, and you're like, oh, this is my industry. I didn't know this happens, it will be different. I had a call today. with somebody I met over the weekend at Creative Con. Great conversation we had today. And I showed her, this is your audience. Your audience starts searching for your information from the 8th of the month to the 23rd of the month. And she didn't know that. She has copious notes. She's been in this business industry for decades. Like, she's a vet, like, she's retired, she's having her own business. She's doing really well. And I just showed her one section of my page saying, this is exactly what's going on in your area. This is the area, this is the city, this is the state. This is exactly what you need. So that way, when you're running ads or you're doing campaigns or you're doing organic campaigns, at least you know who's responding back to you. Because the worst thing you can ever do is talk to somebody who's not interested and waste their time and also waste yours. So if you know that somebody is looking for this on this date to this date, then you plant a seed, you let it germinate, you let it grow, you water it, you nurture it. Let them come whenever they're ready. They might come at 3 a.m. or 6 p.m., but anytime they're available, you're available for them. And that's how it should be, so that that everlasting cycle becomes something of a positive note rather than just a redundancy, factor. So I'm glad that we talked about this discussion today. And I'll be back again tomorrow. I'll pick a time so we can be able to be here and talk about this insightful topics. And I'll also use more question-based topics this week so that we can answer these questions together and also, make sure that we can all have the best response forward. So with that said, have a great Monday. For those who are here, have a great week. And I look forward to seeing you in the clubhouse streets very soon. God bless you all. Have a great day and enjoy your lunch for those who are about to have lunch. So take care, and I'm going to see you guys soon.